Super Smash Bros. Melee! If you've watched previous videos in the game concepts category, you'll know that the concepts of my games are usually very logical in nature. In most cases, there's a problem to solve and I designed the game to solve it. But the concept behind Smash Bros. Melee was actually extremely simple. That was, of course, to power up Smash Bros. By leaps and bounds. You'll see it clearly if you compare the finished Melee to the original Smash Bros. The fighters, stages, graphics, effects, animations, sounds, content, playfeel, items, and bonus features all got a massive upgrade. To people at the time who had only known the Nintendo 64 version, it must have been very eye-opening. With the Nintendo 64, we faced numerous challenges including hardware capabilities and the dev environment. After all, one fighter in the original Smash Bros. Was composed of about 300 polygons. In a battle with 3 or more fighters, that was lowered to about 200 polygons. Not sure what that actually means? Well, it's basically as low as it gets for home console fighting games. An incredibly tight restriction. Hence why Samus's legs are made of triangles. As for the textures applied to the fighters, we were limited to 64 by 64 pixels, or sometimes even 32 by 32. That's small! Smash Bros. Melee was developed for the GameCube though, which had vastly superior specs. And it was much easier to develop for than the Nintendo 64. Also, this was the first game I ever developed for optical disc media. I was a little late to the party, but I got to use streaming playback, in other words, music recorded with real instruments. Since this was my first chance with streaming playback, I used orchestral arrangements for several of the tracks. That led to various opportunities like the Press Start concerts, which lasted 10 years, and the numerous composer collaborations we've had in Smash Bros. Titles since. This was also my first game to include a CG movie. We had no spare time whatsoever, so I gave up my New Year's holiday to draw the storyboards. One of the new bonus features we introduced was the trophy system. There was a limit to how many fighters we could include in the game, but this gave us a way to bring together other characters from across Nintendo's history and give players some nice fan service with the bonus background info about each. Our friends at Creatures Inc., among others, helped us a lot to get the project out the door. Is this game really worth the immense labor it requires? It's a common question, one that I often ask myself and the others often ask me. Still, I'd say most creative works, not just games, have to do what they can to set themselves apart from the crowd. So I rolled up my sleeves and did my best to make the game feel extra special. Well, that's what I always do, but still. By the time Smash Bros. Melee was announced, then released, it was hugely anticipated all over the world. I like to think that it lived up to those high expectations. But what do you think? Well, I guess you can't answer unless you're around at the time. In the end, Smash Bros. Melee became the top seller among all GameCube titles. Now, next up in the game concepts category, we'll be talking about Kirby Air Ride. Stage clear.